Hi, I'm Zack from Kid2Kid Tutorials, and right now we're going to be practicing complex numbers. So let's go on to these problems. But first, I need to teach you what a conjugate is. If you don't know what a conjugate is, it's a number, so let's say you have a plus bi, and the conjugate of that is a minus bi. So that's what a conjugate is. So the formula for a single complex number is a minus a plus bi. And that's what a single complex number needs to be like. So we're going to use this more in the video. So let's start with the problem. So 7 plus 2i plus 4 minus 3i. So we write that out. So 7 plus 2i plus 4 minus 3i. And we don't need the parentheses here, so we can take them out. So that's just 7 plus 2i, and then plus 4 minus 3i. So we add or subtract the like terms. So 7 plus 4 is 11, and 2i minus 3i is negative I. So 11 minus I is our answer. And we can't simplify this any further, so we leave it as that. Now let's go on to B. So negative 3 plus 2i, so in parentheses, negative 3 plus 2i, and minus, parentheses, 5 minus 7i, and then plus 2 times 4 plus I. So let's substitute the numbers in, or in this case. So here we can take out the parentheses. So we get negative 3 plus 2i, and then minus 5, and then that's a plus 7i, since the parentheses substitutes through the parentheses. And yeah, the negative sign substitutes through the parentheses. Okay, so we get negative 3 plus 2i minus 5 plus 7i plus, and 2 times 4 is 8. So plus 8, and 2 times I is 2i, so plus 2i. So we have that. Now we can add or subtract the like terms. So negative 3 minus 5, negative 3 minus 5 is negative 8. And negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So negative 8 plus 8, and then equals 0. So the numbers all cancel out. So now we're left with 2i plus 7i plus 2i. So 2i plus 7i is 9i. And 9i plus 2i is 11i. And 11i is our answer for this problem. On to our third and final problem. Write the quotient 1 over 1 plus I as a single complex number. So the formula for a single complex number is a plus bi. And a conjugate is, so let's say you have a plus bi. A plus bi, the conjugate of that is a minus bi. So that's what a conjugate is. So, and this is the formula for a single complex number. So if you have those two, then we are able to solve this problem. So we have 1 over 1 plus I. So 1 over 1 plus I. And then, if you think about it, if you multiply 1 plus I by its conjugate, which is 1 minus I, then you get a real number. So let's multiply this fraction by 1 minus I over 1 minus I. And then 1 times 1 minus I is just 1 minus I. And then 1 minus I over 1, in parentheses, 1 plus I times 1 minus I. Now we can substitute 1 and I throughout the parentheses. So we have 1 minus I over, and then 1 times 1 is just 1, so 1, and then 1 times negative I is just negative I. So 1 minus I, and then I times 1, so now we're going to I. I times 1 is just I, so plus I. And then I times negative I is negative I squared. So we have those. And now we can add or subtract the like terms. So So 1 doesn't have any like terms, but these i's do. These i's do. So negative I plus I is 0. So those cancel out. And so we have 1 minus I over 1 minus I squared. And then we can so 1 minus I squared. Then we can substitute negative 1 for I squared. Because I squared, so I is just a square root of negative 1. And square root of negative 1 squared, that's I squared, is equal to negative 1. So that's why I squared equals negative 1. So we get 1 minus I over 1 minus negative 1. So 1 minus negative 1. So we have that. And we substitute the negative sign throughout the parentheses, and we get 1 minus I over 1 plus 1. And that equals 1 minus I over 2. But that still doesn't look like the formula a plus bi. So we can split these apart into 1 over 2 minus I over 2. We can do that because if we have 1 over 2 minus I over 2, that's what the formula is like. So we just divide 2 by both the number and variable on top. And another way you can think about it is, if you have 1 over 2 minus I over 2, that's the same thing. Since they both have the same denominators, you just subtract the numerators. And you get 1 minus I over 2 if you subtract those again. So our answer is 1 over 2 minus I over 2, since we can't simplify that any further, as our single complex number. For watching Kid2Kid tutorials. And if you like our videos, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.